Let's continue with this final session as we are with a very tight schedule. We must finish at 2. My name is Sonia Arroyo. I am full professor at the University of Zaragoza, and it is my pleasure to moderate this session. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Enrique Bronson for inviting me to be here today. Okay, we have a session with 5 papers, so we are more people in the table that we can be able to sit, so our 2 presenters will come here later in a while. First of all, we have the presentation of José Miguel Soares. He has been working in the statistics department of the Bank of Portugal since 2017, particularly in the Securities Data Management Division, the Credit Assessment Division, and currently at the Central Balance Sheet Division. His educational background is in economics, where he holds a bachelor degree and also a master. So he will be presenting about test mining in companies' annual reports in PDF format. So the floor is yours. You can start when you want.
Hello everyone, thank you Sonia for the presentation. So my name is José Miguel Soares, I am 28 years old. My academic background is in economics, both a bachelor and master degree, and I've been working at the Bank of Portugal for the last 7 years. Since the beginning of 2022 I work at the Central Balance Sheet Division, and that's why I'm here today to present you our work on text mining of companies' annual reports in PDF format. This is a project developed by Central Balance Sheet Division of Bank of Portugal, which had the collaboration of a trainee, mainly for the coding component in Python, considering her academic skills and background. So, not working?
It's not working.
Okay, now it's working. This is the program for today's presentation. I will start by explaining our motivation for this project, namely what we do in Central Balance Sheet Division. Then I will give more specific context on the framework section, trying to explain why we developed this project. On the third section, I will show you the methodology applied, and finally, I will show you the results and the way forward, the path that we want to follow from now on. So, it's not working, or is it off? Okay. Now it's working. It was off. Sorry. So as I told you from the beginning, I work in Central Balance Sheet Division, which is responsible for an economic and financial database on Portuguese non-financial corporations. This database provides useful information both for companies, as it allows companies to have access to data regarding their branch of economic activity, as well as to Bank of Portugal researchers in order for them to perform statistics, financial stability and research analysis. So the Central Balance Sheet Division contains information on non-financial corporations with 2 different periodicities. On the top side we can see quarterly data arising from ETF survey, which is a quarterly survey directed to a sample of the universe of non-financial corporations. This information is reported to Statistics Portugal, which then shares it with Bank of Portugal. On the bottom side, we can see annual data coming from ES survey, which is an annual survey directed to a much wider range of non-financial corporations, almost the total of them. And the information reported in this survey is used by different public bodies like the Tax Authority, Ministry of Justice, Statistics Portugal, and Bank of Portugal. All this information is received by Bank of Portugal in a full electronic format, except for the IES A1 annex, which should contain the consolidated annual report for those companies that present consolidated accounts. So, considering the existence of different accounting policies as IFRS standard or national GAAP, and the lack of a single format, the consolidated accounts are still submitted in PDF format. This information is then manually introduced in an Excel file by trainees during the summer for 2 months, and then this Excel file is then uploaded for our database. So it is pretty simple to understand the main motivation for this project. The main motivation was to try to extract the information we need from these PDF files and have this information in Excel format in order to, first of all, have the information in electronic format, and then to reduce the manual and repetitive component of this task. Let's now analyze the framework for this project. As many of you know, there are several text mining techniques which aim to extract information from documents in PDF format. Nevertheless, in this project, our main goal was not only to perform this extraction, but to create a program that detects which pages have the information we want to extract. So, considering the consolidated annual reports, we want a program that first identifies which pages contains the financial statements, and we are focused on 2 of them, the consolidated financial position and consolidated income statement. So we want the program to identify which page contains these 2 statements, and then extract this data from PDF format to Excel format. One of the most important steps in this project was the decision regarding which software we should use to perform this task. There were different possibilities, such as, for instance, Data Robot, R, Python, KNIME, among others. I can tell you that our decision was to use Python, and this decision was based mostly into reasons. First, because it is an open source software, and it's not the case for some other alternatives. And then because nowadays it's the software that it's most commonly used in statistics department of Bank of Portugal. So after choosing the software, we also had the decision regarding the libraries we want to, or we need to use. Here I present some of them that were texted and used throughout our project, namely Camelot and Tabula, which are 2 of the most, I would say, popular and effective ways to extract tables from PDF. Then my next section is dedicated to the methodology applied in this project. So, but first I will remember you the main goal of the project. Not only to extract the data from PDF format, but before that, the program should be able to identify which pages we actually want to extract. So, in our first approach, our first idea, in which we call the analyst approach, the analysts identify the set of words that most commonly appear in these financial statements, dividing them into 2 groups. 9 words belonging to group 1, which are words associated with the consolidated statement of financial position, and 10 words in group 2 associated with the consolidated income statement. In this approach, the program detects the page that contain a greater presence of these words by counting the number of words of which group that appear in each page of the report, being each word only counted once, and then dividing this number by the total number of words belonging to each group. We consider that is more likely that a certain page contains one of the intended statements if this ratio is greater than 40%. In the following image, we presented the first results for this approach. So, for the non-financial corporations presented, we see that several pages possibly containing the intended statements were detected, as they meet this criteria that I just presented. In the last column, we can also see that as we know in advance which page actually contain those statements, we did the work of understanding how many of that pages were properly identified according to this criteria. So I will give an example. For the first corporation, we can see there were 7 pages identified as possibly containing the statement of financial position, and seven pages possibly identified as possibly containing the income statement. And we can see in the last column that only one of the pages that actually contain one of these statements was properly identified. We can see for the other companies, for the other examples, that several pages that possibly containing both statements were identified, and not in all the cases the 2 pages that actually contain this statement, the statements were properly identified. So we can, given these results, we decided to try a next approach, in which we call the machine learning approach. In this approach, we decided to give a training sample of 12 reports and let the program understand or detect which words it should search for in order to detect these pages. So here we present a set of words that the program identified as the most important in order to detect those pages, and considering the results obtained and the similarity to accounting terminology, we decide to make a small fine-tuning process by adding or removing some of the words that were detected by the program. Also included in this step of machine learning process, we did a process of identifying the basic form of words. Without great detail and in a very generic way, both these 2 processes, the stemming lemmatization, intend to reduce the words to their basic form, to the stemma or the lemma. Although in one case we can end up with a word that actually makes sense, that actually makes no sense, that does not exist in grammar, but as a value for the analysis. And in the other case, the reduction is always made to a word that actually exists. Here we can see some example. Like with this library spacey for lemmatization, we perform the reduction of words that appear in the plural form or in the feminine gender to words that are in the singular form or in the male gender. Our next step was to replace all numerical characters in the range between 1 and 10 by 1, 0. Then the program, one of the characters that the program would look for in the reports would be a set of 2 zeros. And like this, we try to restrict the search for pages that actually contain numbers. Because as we want to find financial statements, mainly composed by numbers, like this, we consider that we were more near to detect this type of pages that contain tables with numbers. Finally, we get the final list of words or attributes that the program will look for in the reports. As we can see, we have here words that are coming from the first approach we followed, which were indicated by the analysts. We have words here that are coming from the machine learning process, indicated by this machine learning process. And the final attribute was the 00, which counts for numerical characters. Just for let you know, this first word is with a cross on top of it, because when the analysts start the process, we decide to include both the old and the new way of writing the word asset in Portuguese, as some companies still present the statements with old writing rules. However, after the several processes, namely the machine learning process, as it also selects the word ativo, which means asset, the new way, and in the singular form, we decide to drop the old one. Now, I will present you the steps followed that this program follows. First, for each page of the reports, it computes how many attributes are found in each of the pages, being each attribute only counted once. Then the page that contains the most number of these attributes is selected for extraction. In the case that 2 or more pages have the same number of attributes, the program is not able to decide which one it should choose, let's say like that. So it selects both for extraction. The last step is that the program saves the extraction in Excel format in a predefined directory. I must say that this diagram, this path, is followed by both set of attributes that I showed in the previous slide, in order to find both the consolidated statement of financial position and the consolidated income statement. So the last section of my presentation is the results we achieved with this program and the way forward. I would say the main goal, or the first main goal of our project, was successfully achieved, as we created a program that identifies the pages that contain these two statements and correctly extract this information into Excel format. The following table presents the results for this approach. We can see that the number of pages that possibly contain one of the intended statement has dropped significantly, and for all the cases we were able to find these 2 pages that we want. I will give the example also of the first company. For the first company, there was detected only 1 page that possibly contained the statement of financial position, and only 1 page that possibly contained the income statement, which means that the 2 pages that actually contain the statements were properly identified. We can see that for the other cases, this set of possible pages was composed only by 1 page or a maximum of 2. It is important to emphasize that in this moment, in the present situation, is that this procedure currently works only for these PDFs that have better resolution, or that allow one to search for text, known as a readable PDF. For the moment we developed this project, we had 30 companies in this condition, which were the companies that had listed shares. And these ones had to present more information. Normally, their reports have these characteristics. Regarding the way forward, and although it's not mentioned here in my slides, of course, the first step is try to expand this program to documents in PDF that has a lower resolution, or that does not have this characteristic of search for text. Of course, we know it's not that simple. That's why we didn't develop in the first phase, but that's one of the next steps. Then I would say that this project is not an end in itself. Let's say like that, because it is like an initial step for a later goal that we have, which is to perform a semi-automatic fill-in of the Excel file that we use to upload the information for our database. Here I present two examples of the extraction for Excel, and here is our goal, is to use this information to perform a semi-automatic fill-in of this file. The implementation of this procedure would allow us to reduce the amount of resources we need, namely trainees and the time of our analysts. This way I finished the presentation I had prepared for today. But first, before questions, I would anticipate one of them. That is why we developed this project, considering that there is a similar tool, let's say like that, in the scope of ERICA working group, which allows one to do the mapping between the accounts in electronic format and the files we need to upload the information for our database. And the answer is simple, because when we start this project, Portuguese non-financial corporations were not forced to submit their accounts in an electronic way. Even nowadays, they are not. Only the listed companies are forced to submit this file, these companies are reduced in number compared to the total number of companies we have. So this is one of the reasons. And the other is that even now that we are making some tests to this tool, namely to the information reported by companies in this electronic format, for the next years we only expect to use this tool for these listed companies which have now mandatory rules to submit this electronic format. For all the others, as they are not forced to submit this format, our project is value added, let's say like that, as long as we can convince the companies or force them, let's say like that, to submit a PDF with such characteristics. So now this way I finished the presentation I had prepared, and if you have any doubt or any clarification you may need, I'm now available. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, and let's open the floor for the questions.
Just a couple of technical questions. You did say that you collected only for 30 companies, correct? And did you try with other companies? And did you do any manual verification if the indexing is working? Because our experience, we have been doing this with GASB statements. We got a little grant from the GASB, the Government Accounting Standards Board. And we did manual verification. We did maybe 300 or 400 municipalities, and we get maybe 90% accuracy, but we don't get 100% accuracy. And as I said yesterday, want to improve financial reporting, forbid them to be published in PDFs.
Okay, thank you for your question. Actually, maybe I was not able to explain me well, but the point is we receive 850 non-financial corporation reports as consolidated accounts. For the development of this project, we only used 30 of them because there are the ones who are listed companies and the ones that present this PDF with the possibilities to search for text. And as long as until now we only were able to develop this tool for this kind of PDFs, we only use these 30. Our goal is to try to expand to more companies which report in different PDF format. Regarding the second part, if I understand it well, if we do like a manual verification, we do for these 30 companies. During last year, we did like the both ways. We perform this semi-automatic process by using the extraction that the program gave us, and we also perform the manual fill-in. So, and then we compare both.
You are regulated, so you just tell them. You have to publish.
Yeah. Regarding that part, as I had the chance to say to Professor, for us it will be perfect if they are just forbidden to submit PDF format. But as long as I know, only the listed companies nowadays are forced to submit in electronic format. And in Portugal last year, I mean, the 2021 financial statements were the first with this rule. So we perform like quality control of this data, and we know it's not perfect yet, let's say like this. But I have I don't have any knowledge about the intention to make it mandatory for other companies. And as long as I know my country, I think it will take some time. In this case, the listed companies they have mandatory rules, and they have to send this format also to the to authority which controls the listed companies. But for all the others, we don't have any clue of what's going on in the next years.
Yeah, there was another question there.
I've got two questions. First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. It was very, very interesting. The first one is, have you used any kind of optical character recognition in order to take, I mean, because, for example, in Banco España, we have a lot of PDF files, but we have all mixed up, you know, like images and then the text, and we need to take this text from the images in order to process it. That's the first question. And the second one, that is related to the first one, when you take or when you extract all the information, financial information that you want to extract, do you take it from the tables only, or from the plain text, or both places?
Yes, regarding the first question, and although I'm not the specialist in Python coding, I can tell you that we didn't use. We used our task, or our goal was to create a program from the beginning, because we also wanted to add this component of the program to identify the pages. So and we didn't want to like split the things in two parts. So we performed this from the beginning. Regarding the second question, the program detects which page contains the intended statement, and then it extracts all the page into Excel format. Normally, pages with financial statements as the financial statements and some comment below. But this program extracts all the information, not only a specific part, all the information that is in the page, into an Excel format. And that's why the next step we want to perform is to make this link between this extraction, which contains all the information, and the file we use to upload information for the database.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, oh, sorry.
I just had one final question. I wanted to ask, so did you make experiments with the libraries for extracting information from tables, from tabula and all of those?
Yes, we made several of them. I present all the libraries that were tested. Not all of them were actually used in the final program, but Tabula was one of the ones that were used. Yes.
And which ones do you think work better?
Tabula, Camelot. That's those two for sure. I mentioned. Now I don't remember by heart, but at least those two for sure were used. Then we also try. I don't remember. Maybe I can see. No, I cannot see the slide anymore. But there were some of them that were texted and not used in the end. I remember if I see the slide. But at least I can assure you that those two were used in the final program.
But your idea is to use these libraries in the final step of mapping the full page
to Excel. Yes, that's it. And also a problem or a difficulty we may have for the future is to try to find other libraries that could perform the same task, let's say like that, for PDFs with other formats. But for these ones, it was like that.
Okay. And just one final question. So the software you mentioned from the Erika working group, can you tell me the name of the?
It's. I think it's not exactly a software. It's an Excel file, which is I think it's SF Erika mapping tool, which his task is basically to perform the mapping between the count submitted in electronic format by the companies and then the Erika format that we need to follow to upload information for the database. But as long as I know, I think I will not say anything wrong. It was a tool developed, or at least with the experiment from the colleagues of Bank of Spain. So for sure here there are people who really know what the tool is doing.
Okay, great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.